get a point, valuable point out of this one. Once again, injuries, a lot of them for you guys. Your first thoughts after your game?
Well, just disappointment, right? Because I thought they laid it out there. I thought they followed the game plan for the most part. Thought Matty was great all night long, and just made an error on one of the breakouts and ended up in the back of our net. And so it's an unfortunate event, for them to get their first one, and then from there, you're squeezing it a little bit, and then once they got the next one, we started to kind of get back to our game a little bit. We were on our toes, and then we started to play our brand of hockey. And then, obviously in the overtime, I mean, Matty made some great saves. I don't think we were able to generate. I think at that point we were, running out of a little oxygen, to be honest with you. But you got to hand it to our guys. We're disappointed because we believe in our team, and we believe that we can get 2 points against anybody that we play. I do believe that the power of the connection in our room is really strong, and that's how we've been able to solve problems and find solutions. And yeah, of course we're disappointed because we believe in the team.
Yesterday we talked about having a good start to a game, and it seemed like you guys had a better start. You guys kept it scoreless throughout the first period. Comes to the second period, McCartney gets it. What did you guys do differently today to kind of defend better in the first period?
Well, I think sometimes it's just a mental decision, right? I think if you make those mental decisions, you just alter the course a little bit, and I think they just kind of took it upon themselves and like, yeah, it's great how we've been able to come back, but if we want growth and we want to continue to enhance our game, we need to be able to learn to play with the lead and keep the lead and lean into it when we do have the lead. So I think it was, basically a choice to just kind of tighten up the details and make sure that we're, neutral is positive and positive is excellent.
We mentioned injuries. Obviously, Tullio comes out with an injury. Barbashev comes in, and it seemed like him and Ricketts had a great line going together. Every time they stepped in the ice, you saw something going there. What did you see from those two tonight?
Well, effort is a choice, right? I think they're really trying to do what they can to pour a lot of effort into their game. I think if you're uncomfortable, you're on the right track. I think they were willing to put themselves, in a position to be uncomfortable. They moved their feet and they're digging in. Lack of a better word, they were trying to get lines, and they're good on the forecheck. They were good defensively, and I liked Connaughton's game as well. For him to go into this position and this role, he's accepted it, and it's great to see that type of leadership and attitude and behavior.
Villalta and Stauber both played great this series, and truly the highlights of this series. What did you think of your goaltenders in the past two games and expecting them to move forward?
Yeah, I think they've been really solid for the last month, right? If you look at our record and how we've been playing, they're obviously the two biggest factors, right? They're starting to find some continuity within their relationship, and that's positive to see. And they're trying to do what they can to support each other, and honestly, they're playing some really good hockey, and they're looking like NHL type goalies.
And both of these games have been super close against the top team in the Pacific Division. Both goal, just by a goal, basically. Going forward, it seemed like just these two games, it was little errors, breakaways, bad shift change. What did you see that really took the Eagles the win and didn't give you guys the win?
Well, I think, aside from a couple, turnovers or not just being strong over the puck, the puck kind of seemed to, we'd fan on a pass attempt, and it ended up being a breakaway, and Matty was there to make the save. And then just late in the game there, you've got to be able to, it's no secret the teams that own the slot and can defend the slot are teams that do well in the playoffs and are winning teams. So that's an area now that we've gotten to this stage where we're playing with a lead, and now we've got to be able to defend our slot like it's sacred ground.
And now, like you said, sacred ground, you're going to step off sacred ground. No more home games for a month. It's going to be on the road. What does it take to win on the road, and how are you guys going to battle kind of the uphill battle of not being away from home and being on the road for so long.
Yeah, the good thing is we do get to come back home. We're gone for 3 days and then or 3 games, and then we do come back, so that's good. And then there's the All-Star break in between, right? So you've got some time to be back with your family, or at least in your home and what you're used to. So we'll be able to practice in Chandler and here and on the road. But you know what, being on the road is, sometimes where you build the best bonds, and you start to learn a little bit more about each other, and you start to, those relationships just start to really grow, and then they enhance. So it's a positive thing for us too. I think it's good for us to get out there.
Do you expect some of your players, your injured players, to slowly trickle back into the lineup over the month away from home?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're starting to see guys make improvements, and I think they're some guys are going to probably target Wednesday, and if not Wednesday, then the next night. But yeah, it's overall, we're trying to do what we can to just reside in the moment, right? There's the best things happen in the moment, and nothing really exists other than where we are right now. So we'll see how all that plays out, but. Listen, I'm proud of our guys and how hard they're working, but we should be a little bit disappointed after a loss like this, because, like I said, we believe in our team and we believe in each other.
So, Coach, you have the Jim Road trip coming up.
Yeah.
What's it like going on a road trip for so long?
Well, like I was saying, the good thing is we're going to be able to come back, and then there's the All-Star break in between, and there's some time there that we can see our families and be in the environments that we're used to. But being on the road for us is good. This is where you build the relationships and the bonds, and the guys spend all their time, they're together, and it's a business trip, right? You end up being engaged with the game just a little bit tighter, a little bit closer, and sometimes that can be a real strong benefit.
Are you guys approaching it any differently this year in terms of maybe going home for longer or practicing in other cities longer? Or
No, not really. I think we try to do what we can to maximize our time being home, right? That's where we want to be, and of course, if we have to practice on the road, it is what it is. It's just we're just trying to do what we can to manage our schedule where the guys can get the proper rest and be able to perform every night, and to try to advance their careers, our team, and get as many points as we can.
And I wanted to kind of look ahead and ask a couple questions about the All-Star game. What's it like when guys go there and they play in the All-Star Classic?
Well, I think. Go ahead.
Is it like do they get a boost playing with other guys, or just more of a fun thing?
I think it's just it's a fun thing. I think they appreciate being recognized as an all-star. There's no doubt about it. But they get to learn from other players and what they're doing, and they get to build relationships with others. And at some point their paths will cross again. And it's always fun when you get to meet some new people, and then you get to compete against them. And a lot of times it's also the other way. You're tired of competing against them, and you get an opportunity to play together and learn a little bit more about what the opponent is like.
And finally, how prestigious is it to make the Pacific All-Star team? Because it's a bigger league, bigger division, and it's a division that's had a lot of success in the playoffs and in the All-Star Classics.
Yeah, I think it's quite an honor to be recognized as an all-star. There's no doubt. I think everybody would appreciate that honor, and I think it's great for the players, and it's great for the American Hockey League. You can see the names in the list of guys that are now currently in the NHL, or have been a part of the American Hockey League and retired as NHL players. So it's obviously a huge honor, and I think it's bright for their future, and a look into it.
I don't have any questions.
All good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate